Hi there, welcome to Just Another Dev, and today we are going to discuss a couple of undo commands in Git. Undo commands, as the name suggests, basically helps us revert our changes or discard our changes, and these commands differ at different stages, right? So if you are yet to stage your changes and you want to remove them, you want to discard them, there's a different undo command. And if you have already staged or committed your changes, or maybe if you have pushed it to GitHub directly, then there are different commands that we can use to revert those things. So let's see a couple of them. Okay, so we'll start with our repository that we created in the last two videos. So let's get started. So if you see here, there is no change whatsoever. It's all clean. If you see the logs, we can see all the commits that we created earlier. It's all there, right? So let me just open it in the VS Code and let's start making some changes, right? Okay, so let's say if I make some change in this file, right? Let's say if I add a function, let's just call it a test function and it just return I am a test function, right? Now let's see the first level of undo that we want to do, right? So we are in a file, we made some changes and now we want to revert it. So as simple as that, right? We can just press Command Z or Control Z and everything will be reverted over here, right? Now this is all good. So no more changes over here, right? So I can basically undo it with simple Command Z itself. But when you are making too many changes in your files, right? When there are a lot of files are going to change and you might come back to these changes later on. Let's say you made some changes, you saved them, you came here the next day, then all these things you might not be able to revert with the help of simple Control Z, right? So what will happen in that case? So let's see what we can do, right? So I made this change in demo.js. Let's see if I want to add one more file. Uh, let's just call it uh, new demo or new file.js or whatever. I'll just put a console over here. Okay, and let's make one more change in lecture one as well. I'll just put another console. Okay, so I just put this console. I'm a new change in undo command studio. So now let's go to the command line, and if I do a git status, it will show me three things. That these two files I have modified, and this is a file which is basically an untracked file. I'm yet to commit this file, right? I want this to be removed. So what we can do over here, I'll use the checkout command. So if you remember, I explained in the last videos as well that checkout is a very versatile command, right? So we used to move it to a different branch, to a different commit, and we can move it to we can use it to move to a file as well, right? So what it will do if I do a git checkout and demo.js, it will basically give me the latest version of this file which is present over here, right? So if I do a git checkout demo.js, you will see the change is gone, right? So it gave me the latest saved change on this demo.js. Okay. Now if I do a git status, then I don't see that file anymore, right? So basically this is one way you can revert your changes, right? If it is not basically staged, right? I haven't staged this. So this is the first command that we are seeing. We basically discarded our changes when we have not staged them, right? Now let's see the another command. What happens if I had staged it, right? So let me just add it again. Okay, I just added one more change again. I'll just clear this up. If I do a git status, okay, we can see it is showing us demo.js file, right? Now let's do one thing. Let's add them, right? So I'll just do git add demo.js And let me add this tutorial as well. Okay, or let's add all of them, doesn't matter. So if I check the status over here, get status. Okay, we are seeing that these files are basically added to the staging area, right? Now if you see here, it is giving us a hint, right? It is basically telling us a command, git restore hyphen hyphen staged followed by the file name to unstage, right? So what it will do, it will move this file or any file that I'm going to choose, right, back to the track part, right? So it will move it from the staging area to the uh, tracking part. Uh, I don't think that's the correct word to say, but it will basically be the initial state, whatever we made changes, right? It will be tracked by Git. So let's see how we can do that. If I do a git restore hyphen hyphen staged, and let me just put this demo.js. Okay, so if we see it, the changes are still there. Okay, we have not reverted anything, but what we did, we kind of created an undo command, right? So this is kind of an undo command to unstage it, right? So if I do a git status now, you can see it is still being tracked, but what we are doing, we are not adding this to the staging area, right? So it is not staged anymore. Okay, so that's how you can basically do an undo when your file is already in the staging area, right? A very similar command we have uh, to this one is reset. So if I do a git reset and let's say this new underscore file.js, it will also do the same thing, right? So let's see git status. So if you see here, it is showing we only have one file in the staging area. This one we already basically removed from the staging area, basically kind of an undo command only. The command was this, and this one, which is kind of a similar command only. This internally, both of them do a similar thing. I guess it's almost same thing they do internally. So we used a git reset new file.js, right? So this and this command did the same thing, and both of them are uh, into the tracking mode only. So they are no longer in the staged area. Okay, so this is basically how we can undo our changes or basically unstage our files, right? So let's look at how we are going to do an undo on the already committed files. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll create 3 separate commits for all of these files so that we can see how we can undo a particular commit, right? So let me just make a commit. So let me just put it. Okay, so now we only have these 2 files, and let's do one thing. Let me make one more commit for this demo.js. Okay, so if I do a git log, we'll see there are 2 latest commits over here, and we only have one file over here, right? So now what we have done, we have already committed these changes, right? 2 of the changes I have already committed. We can see over here. Now, what if we didn't want some of it to be committed, right? What will happen in that case? What if I did not want this demo.js changes to be there? So what we can do, there are actually 2 ways you can do it. You can either delete that commit itself or you can revert it, right? So revert is basically, I would prefer the revert overcome our delete, because it would still keep the history that what we did in this commit, right? So let's say if I want to revert this thing, so what it will do, it will create another commit which will revert the changes that were done in this, right? So this commit will still be remain, it will still remain in the history, okay? But if you have done something which you don't want to be there, let's say you mistakenly added a secret in this commit or something like that, you don't even want that. In that case, what you can do, you can completely remove that, completely delete that, right? So let's see how that is done. Okay, so in case I want to remove this commit altogether, right? So what I can do, I'll copy this commit and I'll do a git reset hyphen hyphen hard and I'll put this commit ID. So what it will do, it will tell us that head is now at this and it's showing this update lecture 1 file, right? This is the name. And if I do a git log now, you will see that the latest commit that we had, update demo.js, is gone, right? Also with that commit, our demo.js is back to what it was, right? Okay, so that last console that we added is no longer there. So what we have done, we have basically deleted that commit, right? It would be helpful when you have pushed something which is maybe a secret or you didn't want to push that. So in that case, you can delete that commit altogether, right? Now let's see the revert as well. So let's see if you want to see this or if you want to revert this change. So let's look at the change as well. In lecture 1, we added this thing, right? Now, if I want this change to be reverted, what I can do, I will use the command git revert and I'll give the commit hash. And it is just basically asking us, do you want to put any message? For now, I'll just put this, whatever they are showing, I'll just save it. And if I do a git log here, you will see there is a new commit created, right? And this commit is still there, right? So what it is showing that you still have this commit, but in the latest code, that change is reverted. So it creates one more commit as we discussed, right? And it's the message is also here, right? This reverts commit this, okay? Also, if you see here, revert update lecture one file changed, one insertion, three deletions. Let's see what happened on the file. Okay, so in the lecture1.js, you see we don't have that console anymore, okay? But if I go and check out to that commit, I will be able to see that, right? Let's see if it is there or not. So if I do a checkout, we'll see that this change is still there, but since we reverted it, so in the latest commit that we have got, it is not there. So if I do a git checkout main, then it is not there, right? Also, it is telling us that your branch is ahead of origin main by 2 commits because we just made 2 commits over here, right? So that's what it is showing us. Okay, so this is how basically we can delete a commit that we have created or revert a commit. Depends on our use case. You can pick whatever you want. And there are many different ways to do all these things, but we are not going to cover all of them. And all these commands that we are discussing with, in most cases, would serve your purpose. Okay, one important thing to note over here is that this git reset command uh, is not going to reset a particular commit, right? It is not going to remove a particular commit. What it does, it basically deletes all the commit till that point, right? So whatever command we have seen over here, git reset hyphen hyphen hard, let me just show it into a git log. Okay, so let's say if I do a git reset hyphen hyphen hard and put this commit, right? So what it will do, it will delete both of these commits and it will point my head over here. Okay, so this is not going to create a this is not going to basically pick one commit and delete it for you, right? In that case, I would suggest you go with the revert command, right? Because that is going to basically create a mirror image of that commit and put it as a latest commit, right? So the effect that was created in this commit will get nullified in the latest commit that it is going to create, right? Just like this, right? So that is one thing that you need to be aware of. Also, git reset command, basically this command git reset hyphen hyphen hard is going to basically revert all of the changes that you have, right? Maybe it is staged or it is still in progress, right? So make sure you do it when you have your local changes either stashed or you don't have any local changes sitting with you, right? So if you want to do a reset, make sure you don't have any unsaved data, right? So that's how it is. One more thing, if you already pushed your changes to GitHub, right, then revert will be a better choice because it is going to create a new commit. It is not going to it is not going to basically delete something. Because what if other people have already pulled from that branch and they might already be using that, right? So in that case, you might see some conflicts or something. So if it is already pushed to GitHub, then I would suggest you use the revert commit, right? But if it is not pushed yet, or if you want to definitely remove that, you can still do that. Let's see how will that work. So what I will do, I will now push these changes to GitHub. So I'll just do this clear. I'll do a git push. Okay, so we have pushed our changes to GitHub. Now let's see if we want to delete some commit from GitHub, how that works. So let's see the commits that we have pushed in our GitHub repository. And okay, as we can see, we pushed these two changes, right? Update lecture 1 and then we reverted. So essentially we did not make any further change, right? Because this is one commit that we made, and in this commit we reverted that change, right? Also, if I click here, it shows the description. This reverts commit 0195. This is the commit ID 0195. Yeah. So let's see how we can delete this commit, right? So now that we have even pushed it to GitHub, I still want this commit to be deleted. So let's see how that will work. Okay, so if I do a git log, again, what if I delete this commit, right? So in order to do that, what we can do, we can do this git reset hyphen hyphen hard. Sorry, I'll just do a git log again. Yeah, we want to come till this point, right? So what I will do, I will do a git reset hyphen hyphen hard, and then this is the hash, right? If I do a git log, that commit is gone, right? Now I want to push these changes to GitHub, but if you see, these changes are already there, right? This is where I am at. Now, how do I remove this thing, right? Because this is already ahead of it. So what I will do, I will do a git push hyphen hyphen force, and then it will try to basically make those changes, right? And it is basically showing us it is force updated, right? So if I go here and if I do a refresh, then you will see that commit is gone, right? So what I did, I forcefully mentioned that I want to push whatever I have over here, and whatever was present over here, whatever additional commit was over here was removed, right? So this is how you can do it, but this is not something that I would suggest when you are working on some branch which is basically used by a lot of people. If you are maybe using that branch alone, it is yet to be merged to master or something, then maybe you can do that. But I would still suggest go for the revert way. Use the revert command because it creates a additional commit and all your history remains intact. Until unless you have done something which is basically has to be completely deleted, you don't want it to be in your commit history, you can use this git push hyphen hyphen force. But having used that, it is still there are ways you can still see that right? I mean, we cannot see it directly, but there are tools which might be, or there are commands which might be able to see that change what we did, right? So that's about it, all the undo commands that we have seen. And there are many more commands which you can use to undo your changes at different levels. But for now, this is enough for you to get started. So if you want, you can explore other Git commands and try them out. And thank you. So I hope you liked the video. If yes, please hit the like button and subscribe. See you next time.